Veloci-Coaster is the newest roller coaster at Universal Orlando's Islands of Adventure. This Jurassic World themed roller coaster is the complete package. It combines immersive theming with an intense, world-class roller coaster. That is a combo you don't usually see, and it's why I think Veloci-Coaster is now the best ride at the Universal Orlando Resort, and even further, I think it's the best ride in all of Florida. Find out why in this review of Veloci-Coaster. Veloci-Coaster fills the void that was left after the departure of Dragon Challenge. Back in September of 2017, Universal closed Dragon Challenge. This ride opened with the park back in 1999 as Dueling Dragons, and it consisted of two unique Baljar and Mabillard inverted coasters intertwined with each other. The coaster was a marvel for many reasons. The coaster was incredibly forceful, glass smooth, high capacity, reliable, dueled, and featured a highly detailed queue line. However, the latter two elements disappeared in the 2011 season. The ride's queue line was heavily modified when the ride was renamed and rethemed as Dragon Challenge to fit in with the newly opened Wizarding World of Harry Potter. But more distressing was the fact that the dueling element was eliminated due to safety concerns and a rash of incidents involving loose articles. Dragon Challenge was still thrilling, so it was sad to see the ride go. My dream was for Islands of Adventure to get a flying dinosaur clone in its place, but that seemed unlikely with SeaWorld Orlando already having a B&M flyer in Manta. Instead, Islands of Adventure would get two Intamins, both which would combine a great coaster with immersive theming. The first was Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure in 2019. This Intamin launch coaster fit in better with the Wizarding World of Harry Potter than Dragon Challenge, and the reception has been overwhelmingly positive amongst guests. The ride is just pure fun. It's not overly intense, but it tells a compelling story, features several decent launches, some forceful turns, and some surprise elements I won't spoil here. I have a separate review that goes into more detail, but I thought Hagrid's was in fact superior to Dueling Dragons. However, it was not a high-thrill coaster. Right around when Hagrid's opened, plans were discovered for a second Intamin roller coaster coming to the Jurassic Park area of Islands of Adventure. And this coaster would be none other than Veloci-Coaster. Throughout the 2020 season, hype grew for Veloci-Coaster as guests saw the black track being erected over the lagoon. And the hype has only grown since the coaster soft opened earlier this month, and that hype is 100% warranted. Like Hagrid's, Veloci-Coaster is an Intamin multi-launch coaster, but this ride is considerably more intense. It is easily the wildest ride at the Universal Orlando Resort, and it may be the craziest ride in all of Florida. But it's masterfully designed such that it can be accessible and re-rideable for a majority of park guests. Veloci-Coaster is crammed into Islands of Adventure. The first half occupies the land once used by the Triceratops Encounter attraction. The second half takes place over the lagoon. The lack of land results in a twisted layout with a lot of exciting visuals, sometimes with theming, sometimes with pathways, and sometimes with the lagoon itself. Intamin did an incredible job fitting this lengthy coaster into the park and creating a coaster with almost no dead spots. Veloci-Coaster officially opens on June 10, 2021, but Universal has been testing the coaster for months, and starting in May of 2021, they began soft opening the attraction to annual pass holders and then regular park guests. And the ride has been running very reliably. The ride's uptime has been hovering around the 98% mark, which is great for any attraction and simply remarkable for a brand new addition. This is a stark contrast to what happened with Hagrid's, and there are a few reasons for this. One, the opening for Hagrid's was rushed. The ride opened on June 13, 2019, since that was a notable day in the lore of Harry Potter because that was the day that Tom Riddle opened the Chamber of Secrets. And an early summer opening allowed Universal to get the ride open before Disney opened Star Wars Galaxy Edge. The condensed test schedule caused Hagrid's to not have a soft opening, and the ride was an unreliable mess in its opening year. The ride is now running very reliably since the COVID-19 shutdown. 2. Veloci-Coaster is a coaster type that Intamin has designed several times. While Veloci-Coaster has a unique layout and theme, the technology behind it isn't groundbreaking. is an Intamin LSM multi-launch coaster. Intamin has several of these worldwide, so they've had plenty of time to work out all the kinks and perfect the ride type. Cheetah Hunt isn't a great example of this ride elsewhere. Meanwhile, Hagrid's was one of the most complicated coasters of all time, with all the special elements, 7 launches, and convoluted block system. I spent 3 days at Islands of Adventure, and Veloci-Coaster had barely any downtime. And ever since, Universal has started soft opening the attraction, it has run about as reliably as Hulk. But Universal is being very conservative currently with their estimated wait times. The ride's wait was usually posted as a 75 to 120 minute wait, but I usually waited roughly half the posted wait. And that was even when the queue line extended out of the main building and filled up a large chunk of the extended queue line. The only time I ever waited as long as the posted wait was when the coaster had 3 consecutive minor breakdowns in a row. It was surprising that Veloci-Coaster opened without a virtual queue system, but the improving conditions of the pandemic, the ride's stellar reliability, and astronomical capacity allowed Veloci-Coaster to soft open with a conventional queue line. The coaster currently does not offer express, and it likely won't even when it opens, as Universal usually waits a year or two before putting their newest ride in the Express Pass. For anyone looking to avoid spoilers through the indoor portion of the queue line, through the first launch, I will be sure to note when I start talking about those elements. For now, I'm going to talk about the queue spoiler-free. The ride currently has a conventional standby line and a single rider line. The single rider line often reached capacity, and when full, it took roughly 20 to 30 minutes on average from my experience and others I know who used it. However, I much prefer waiting in the regular queue line for 2 reasons. 1, you can request your row. Veloci-Coaster is great in any row, but the visuals and sense of speed are absolutely incredible up front. Meanwhile, the airtime is strongest in the back car. The front row queue was usually 6 to 7 trains deep, whereas the back car was never more than a 1 train wait at worst. I liked both the front and back equally, so I do recommend trying both. 2, the single rider line bypasses a majority of the theming in the queue line. There are some astounding visuals that they will miss out on. While it wasn't open yet, I did notice the express line is routed such that those guests will be able to pass these themed elements, which is excellent. Unlike Hulk and Rocket, where the lockers are before you enter the queue line, Veloci-Coaster has its lockers at the very end of the queue line. And this system worked flawlessly. It keeps guest satisfaction high by allowing them to keep loose articles with them for a majority of the wait. And the lockers have 2 advantages. 1, it allowed Universal to have Veloci-Coaster safely pass over the pathways without netting. 2, it eliminates the need to store loose articles on the ride platform, which significantly expedites load times. Veloci-Coaster can run up to 4 trains, and the crew was rapidly dispatching trains like a well-oiled machine. You'd think they had been working the ride for months, considering how efficient they were. Part of that comes down to the trains and restraints. These trains have just lap bars and no seatbelts, so they're extremely easy to load. And these trains are fantastic. The ride vehicles are very open. You're raised high above the floor, so your feet will dangle freely. And the lap bars are super comfortable. They leave you very open. These are the same lap bars you can find on Intamin's newer roller coasters like Phantasialand's Terran or PortAventura's Red Force. And they're very similar to the Mach trains on rides like SeaWorld San Diego's Manta or Carowinds' Copperhead Strike. These trains are not only comfortable, but they're sleek looking and have striking blue lights. They look particularly amazing at night. The standby queue starts with an extended outdoor section, which offers some amazing vantage points of Veloci-Coaster. I'd argue they're some of the best views of the ride from anywhere. The happy screams of riders really get you amped up for the ride. This section of the queue line is extremely hot though because it has barely any shade, so make sure to apply your sunscreen. The indoor section of the queue line contains roughly a half hour of waiting, assuming the ride is running at full capacity and doesn't break down. At this point, I will discuss the ride's queue line and overall story. If you want to avoid this, please skip ahead to 11 minutes and 47 seconds. The indoor queue line starts with a series of switchbacks. The focal point of the room is a bouquet of raptors that looks incredible. Many guests were taking selfies with the statue. The detail was amazing, and I particularly loved the roller coaster jutting out of it, especially because the roller coaster track looked like RMC's Raptor track. Coincidence? I think not. The room also introduces you to Mr. DNA, who introduces the ride's story. The coaster is literally themed to a coaster. The Jurassic World theme park decided to install a coaster in the Raptor paddock, and this is expanded upon in the following rooms. The second room showcases the ride's second launch, where the train is chased by a fleet of raptors. It is a very cool visual. The third room has Dr. Henry Wu explaining the caretaking process for the raptors. The fourth room brings guests face to face with some highly detailed raptor animatronics. These raptors look very lifelike between their movements and breathing. The final room, after you store your loose articles, features a comical pre-show with Claire Deering and Owen Grady. Claire is 100% on board with the roller coaster in the Raptor paddock, but Owen is understandably distressed and completely against it. And Chris Pratt is extremely funny in this part and jokingly says what could go wrong. Getting this level of theming for a coaster of this quality is exceedingly rare. Once dispatched, you round a corner and approach the first launch. This is the one part of the ride where I think the theming was sort of missed. While the lights and audio really do build the anticipation, you have these screens on both sides with the raptors that will be chasing you, but they're rather difficult to see. I sorta wish Universal put the animatronics from the queue line here to really make that theming during the first launch special. The first launch is deceptively powerful. The launch track is extremely short. Remember, Intamin did not have much room to work with. This launch accelerates the train from 0 to 50 miles per hour or 80 kilometers per hour in just 2 seconds. It has some good punch to it, and the sense of speed is augmented by the enclosure on all sides. I think I still prefer the launch on Hulk because it's uphill, but Veloci-Coaster's launch felt just as strong as the final one on Hagrid's. That is followed by the first of 4 inversions, in Immelman. Now everyone has been raving about the Mosasaurus Roll, but I find all 4 of the inversions of this coaster to be top notch. I typically find Immelman's dull and forgettable, but this one is fantastic. The entry into the element pulls some strong positive Gs, and the descent will have riders flying out of their seat. Front row riders get major hang time over the top, and then you sort of lean forwards for the entire descent. Back row riders get some nice floater airtime at the start, but then you're yanked out of your seat for the descent. It feels like a wilder version of the second element on Sandy's Blasting Bronco. It's just as tight, but Veloci-Coaster's longer trains make the element more intense. Plus, this Immelman wraps around a giant rock and waterfall for a neat visual too. But the near misses don't stop there. Veloci-Coaster's entire first half blasts through and around the rock structure with shockingly tight clearances. This not only causes an awesome series of head choppers, but it also heightens the coaster's sense of speed, and it makes the layout very unpredictable. The pull-out from the Immelman is extremely tight, so it pulls some crushing positive Gs, and it also includes one of those aforementioned head choppers. That is followed by a dive loop. Up front, this element is exactly like the dive loops on the original RMC Raptors. The twist does not occur until you reach the apex of the element, so this element delivers insane ejector airtime and vicious laterals simultaneously. In the back, the laterals are weaker, as is the airtime. Towards the back, the airtime starts as floater before yanking you out of your seat, similar to the prior Immelman. That is followed by a fast turn. This element offers no airtime, laterals, or positive Gs, but it occurs so quickly it doesn't disrupt the ride's pacing. Then comes a wonderful Airtime Hill. When you have a fully loaded train, you get some decent sustained ejector airtime over this hill. The airtime is stronger towards the back. Now, a lot of people criticize this ride in the early test runs for looking sluggish in the first half. And remember, those test trains were empty. If you have a relatively empty train, the Airtime Hill's power is reduced down to flagector, but it's just as sustained, so I don't mind too much when that happens. Besides, it is extremely rare you'll be riding this with anything but a full train. That element is followed by another fast turn, and then you head down this twisting drop. While these elements again offer no forces, the near misses more than compensate. You rip through rockwork and come inches from raptor statues. While those figures are static, the snarling audio combined with the ride's speed give the illusion that they're charging towards you. You then round a decently forceful turn and then zoom over this off-axis hump. And this element is great for several reasons. 1, it includes another near miss with a raptor statue. 2, the element delivers an abrupt pop of airtime and lateral simultaneously. It basically ejects you diagonally. You then travel over the final hill of the first half, this elongated hill that twists both on the way up and the way down. The hill doesn't offer crazy laterals nor ejector airtime. Instead, it offers some very weak but very sustained airtime throughout the whole train. Veloci-Coaster then dives back down to the paddock for the second launch, which accelerates riders from 40 miles per hour to 70 miles per hour or 110 kilometers per hour in 2.4 seconds. And you really feel the ride's power on this speed boost. It feels comparable to the second launch in Terran. The launch itself has a kick, and the speed is accentuated by the motor's ferocious noise and the enclosure on all sides. That is followed by the ride's tallest element, the 155-foot or 47-meter tall top hat. The entrance into the element pulls some very strong positive Gs, but that's just the appetizer. The apex of the top hat offers some of the best airtime of the entire ride. Up front, you get several seconds of strong and sustained ejector airtime over the top, and then you stay floating out of your seat for the descent. But the airtime is even more extreme in the back. Veloci-Coaster is a 6-car train, and it is extremely rare to traverse a top hat with a train that long. Combine that with the fact the drop is 140 feet or 43 meters tall at an 80-degree angle, and you get over 3 seconds of powerful and sustained ejector airtime on the descent. It is the highlight of Veloci-Coaster for me, and one of the best airtime moments of any coaster in general, and it kicks off an insane second half. That top hat is followed by the 0G stall. In the early reviews of the coaster, I didn't see overwhelming praise for this element, but I think it's one of the best parts of the ride. This element feels completely unhinged. RMC popularized the 0G stall, and they're known for their abundance of hang time. Whereas the RMC ones have riders gracefully levitating out of their seat, the stall in Veloci-Coaster forcefully lifts riders out of their seat. It feels like a sustained and inverted airtime moment. Plus, the element jostles riders side to side, and that's not a bad thing. It's not rough. It's deliberate from the transition in and out of the element, and just adds to the intensity being thrown sideways while suspended upside down for a few seconds. You then enter the Helix that passes around the bypass bridge. During the soft opening, this bridge was closed, but when the ride officially opens, I imagine this section will be even crazier from the energy the onlookers below on the bridge. The Helix begins with a wall stall. It feels like a high-speed version of RMC's wave turns. Towards the front, the element delivers a flagector pop of airtime, while seats towards the back offer weak ejector airtime. You then cruise over this twisted airtime hill, and the profiling of this element is bonkers. You enter the element twisting to the right. At the apex, you twist to the left, and then the descent, you again twist to the right. These transitions occur in a flash, so it sort of feels like one of those twists on Intimidator 305 when you're laterally thrown from one side to the other. But on Intimidator 305, that twist is flat. On Veloci-Coaster, it's a hill, so you also get some really strong airtime on Veloci-Coaster. Front row riders get weak ejector airtime that is very sustained. Back row riders get stronger ejector airtime that is equally as sustained, especially in the second half of the element when you're yanked downwards. That is followed by a quick overbank that doesn't really offer anything, but it does position you for the ride's finale above the lagoon. It starts with a speed hill. The airtime of this element was not as strong as expected. It was really weak floater airtime, but you have some great visuals. You have the energy from the extended queue line mere feet to your right, and you also have a wicked head chopper with Veloci-Coaster above you. Then comes the ride's signature element, the Mosasaurus Roll, which is an elongated barrel roll above the water. You really feel like you're going to be dunked into the water, as it feels like your head will skid across the lagoon's surface. Plus, the element is extremely forceful. You have a ton of speed into this element, so you are absolutely whipped through this barrel roll. You get a mix of crazy laterals and inverted ejector airtime simultaneously. Getting these sensations with just a lap bar is truly amazing. Veloci-Coaster then does this twisted double up into the brake run. I figured this element wouldn't do much prior to riding, but it delivers 2 strong and abrupt pops of ejector airtime regardless of where you're sitting. It allows the ride to end with an absolute bang. Veloci-Coaster is a relentless coaster. The ride contains 4,700 feet or 1,400 meters of track, and the coaster is almost always doing something. The first half is more about the visuals with all those near misses, but it also includes some great elements as well. Even the elements that may not deliver the forces become exciting when you're mere inches from rockwork or raptors. Then the second half is all about the extreme elements, many of which eject you either conventionally, laterally, or upside down. And the ride's perfectly smooth too. That has to be expected of an Intamin, especially one that just opened. So what would I rate Veloci-Coaster? I would give this coaster a perfect 10 out of 10. Veloci-Coaster is a near flawless attraction in all facets. The ride tells a story. It makes an already amazing ride extraordinary. Getting this level of theming in both the queue line and coaster itself is exceedingly rare for a thrill coaster, and it really gets you into the experience. And the ride itself is a fast-paced joyride combining a little bit of everything. You have 2 solid launches, 4 of the best inversions you'll find anywhere, and some wonderful airtime moments that'll have you flying out of your seat in several different orientations. Combine that with the near misses, sense of speed, and smoothness, and I think this is a coaster you'll want to keep getting in line for. I do think this is not only the best coaster at the Universal Orlando Resort, but I think it's the best ride in Florida. As for where it ranks in my overall list, I think Veloci-Coaster is a borderline top 10 steel coaster. The ride alone is probably closer to a top 25 steel coaster, but the overall package of theming and storytelling really does elevate it for me. It offers something many of the other elite coasters out there do not, and that really helps differentiate it. So those are my thoughts on Veloci-Coaster, the amazing new roller coaster at Islands of Adventure. Have you ridden Veloci-Coaster? What are your thoughts on this new for 2021 attraction? I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.